as embarrassing as a stamp collection may be. Whatever the case, though I find it a little odd, it does add a layer of strategy to both combat and exploration. What's a good combination for getting through this next area? That's something you have to consider before heading out, because you don't want to find yourself backtracking because you forgot to equip charms, and you don't want to die because, well, it just wastes time altogether. This is definitely most prevalent in boss battles, and in Hollow Knight, there's a shitload of them. Hollow Knight is up there in terms of difficulty. If you want a tough Metroidvania, I mean, here you go. You're quite capable, especially with charms, but enemies, especially in boss fights, can be just as formidable. While some are large and in charge and hit like trucks, others are small and awfully nimble. Your reaction time needs to be on point, your aim needs to be precise, and getting hit can be tremendously costly. There are no dedicated healing items in Hollow Knight. Assuming you're not resting on a bench or in a hot spring, then I think there's only about 3 from what I can remember. The only way you can restore health is by using focus, which requires that you stand still for a second and have enough mana in your meter here to spend. Now, getting mana isn't difficult at all. There's even some charms that make it super easy to obtain, but you primarily collect mana by striking enemies with your nail. Yes, I did state earlier that you can play this super defensively, but at some point, you have to go in for the kill for the sake of not only moving things along, yeah, but you gotta build up your mana for future use. You want more fireballs or minions? Well, you gotta get down and dirty. This results in amazingly fast-paced battles that never drag and are super satisfying to overcome. Defeating some of these guys feels like winning the lottery. Well, a scratch-off ticket, because nothing will ever beat actually winning $1 million. Boss battles ended up being one of the main reasons why I kept going. I wanted to see how else the game could challenge me, given how fun I found most of them to be, which, I don't know, I found sort of odd yet refreshing. I still enjoyed exploring every area. Once I started getting more movement utility, that feeling extended twofold. I have certain expectations when it comes to my kind of Metroidvania. One that can satisfy that craving of exploring a cool open world, a world that can tell a good story, whether it's through cutscenes or its environment. Most importantly, among everything else, can that game be fun while experiencing all of it? A good Metroidvania, to me, has all of those qualities, and Hollow Knight? Okay, so the story's there, but not exactly engaging, and the world is fun to explore, but asks for a bit more than what these kind of games usually entail, given its sheer size. But the fun I had fighting things, and the sense of accomplishment I felt overcoming the challenge, whether it be the boss battles, or maybe a rigorous platforming obstacle, Hollow Knight's challenge was enough to make up for what I thought it lacked in other areas. As a result, I ended up playing quite a bit of this game. My final rating was 104% with over 26 hours of playtime. I collected all those cute little grubs because I liked seeing them happy, except when they weren't cute little grubs. Fuck you, Team Cherry. I collected just about every charm. I got all the health upgrades, the mana upgrades. I did that stupidly tense delicate flower quest where I had to take this godforsaken thing across several areas without taking damage in the slightest. I shouldn't eaten the damn thing. Insects do that, right? I encountered all those optional warriors and their tougher dream counterparts, my favorite being the Dung Defender because I love how boisterous he is. Totally made me forget that I was literally in a heap of shit during the battle. I did the Grim Troop quest. I fucking loved the battle against Grim, though I ended up not defeating his optional Nightmare equivalent. I just couldn't get a consistent reading on him given how blisteringly fast he moved. I played enough of the game to unlock those hidden areas, got a couple of endings, and I even did that optional Path of Pain bullshit where the game suddenly wanted to become Super Meat Boy. Oh, I did it because I fucking hate myself, but I persevered and came out on top, although looking back, I just did that shit for myself because what does it matter to you guys if I completed it for the sake of this video? You know, unless I become absolutely enamored with the game to not realize how much time I put into it, I generally don't find it necessary to fully complete a game to recommend it on this channel. Last week after I talked about Celeste, a few of you said I forgot to mention the optional seaside challenges, and guys, it's not that I forgot, it's just that I didn't find it necessary to bring them up, given that I was already strongly recommending the game with what it offered in normal play. The reason I bring up what I did for Hollow Knight here is because in this kind of game, it's the things you do gameplay-wise that make up the journey. That's mainly because I didn't find the story as is all too intriguing, I'm aware, but what can I say, when a game goes for a minimalistic means of storytelling, I gotta fill the gap somehow. You can do the bare essentials and beat the game in a weekend if that's your style, or you can spend days if not weeks exploring every nook and cranny and seeing what's beyond the next door. And as I've shown, there's a lot to do, and I found a lot of it fun and fulfilling. You're getting your money's worth, and then some. And it's not even a fully priced game, it's only $15. All that said, I probably won't be revisiting this for a bit, given that its large world asks for more than I like to invest in a Metroidvania in a given time. Basically the same reason why I would play A Link to the Past over Ocarina of Time, but regardless, Hollow Knight is worth your time. Just make sure you got plenty of that, should you go all out. But good lord, do we have a couple of interesting weeks ahead of us. Like Resident Evil 2 Remake is one thing, Kingdom Hearts 3 is right around the corner after that, and there's still a couple of videos I want to do on top of that. Why is January and February so front-loaded? Whew. Well, one step at a time, as always. I'll catch you guys in the next video. With all that said, thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care. No, but seriously, why the hell is there so much coming out all at once? I can only divert my attention among different games for so long. First world problems. Anyway, those who have been wondering about my Twitch archives, I got an announcement coming for you soon, so be sure to tune in for that. Catch you guys later. speak for themselves, but I gave every class a shot to see how I fared. For Assassins, I stuck with Nizan. Right now, I just want to apologize for butchering these names because I'm an uncultured pleb with no knowledge of proper pronunciation. Anyway, she was someone who got stronger the more she dished out, and saying that I'm very reckless in these sort of games, I found myself getting some decent mileage out of her style. I also liked how she could temporarily stun enemies with her whip, meaning that with good timing, I can not only do big damage myself, but I can also lead my other party members to swarm and melt the unfortunate one caught by my attack. I take it Assassins are all about high mobility and burst damage rather than consistency, so I can get down with that if I had a little more time. I felt Guardians were about disruption and general crowd control. My pick was Xing Chen, who sucks at getting a date apparently. I can always admire a guy who can use a comically large axe, so visually I found the dude appealing, and I loved using his spin attack, snatching up opponents like a tornado and leaving them open for everyone else. A little too slow for my liking, but I can see the utility. I picked Jing Wei to test the Hunter class out. When maxed out, her critical hits were damn powerful. I just wish she had a little more range. I realized if Hunters had unlimited range, they'd be quite broken. I just didn't exactly jive that they heavily relied on basic attacks to deal most of their damage, so aesthetically, Hunters weren't my cup of tea, even if they did have the potential to carpet bomb the opposing team. Now, I love a good mage. It's just one of my favorite class types in all of video games, and I immediately found a new home with Scylla. She's easy to pick up and straight up kills it with damage with proper aim. She's super frail, but most mages are pretty squishy, so that's nothing new. Easily one of my favorites from what I experienced. I just wish she didn't look like she was going to eat my soul with that satanic stare. But as much as I love mages, sometimes you can't beat an old-fashioned sword and shield combo, and that's where warriors step in. From what I played, these are the jack-of-all-trades sort of deal. They don't excel in anything, but they have no glaring flaws. And they're also simple to pick up as well. I found myself switching between Bellona, Goddess of War, and King Arthur, who's actually a new addition for the game as of late, and I ended up really liking him. All of his special attacks are sort of two-pronged. You have an initial effect, and then a follow-up. None are particularly powerful, but you have more than the standard to keep your opponent guessing. King Arthur ended up being the character I used the most. I got the most consistent results with him. Whether that was just dumb luck or not, we'll have to wait and see, but together with some skilled teammates, I was able to score victory on a couple of matches. There's a few other modes to unlock. Alright, there's a lot of other modes to unlock. Conquest, Arena, Assault, Joust, Siege, and Clash. Just to name some. Some require a bunch of dedicated play, while some unlock as early as you get a level 3 or level 5 account, like Joust or Conquest. Now, Conquest can be, no doubt, one of the longest modes. You have this 3-lane arena that is positively gargantuan, and it's your job, along with your team, to destroy the enemy's towers and their guardian. I didn't play much of this because, like I said, games can take a bit, and if your team is insistent on not surrendering, even when it's clear that we're not winning this, the respawn times begin to take a toll, and I grew a little fatigued. I much rather prefer Arena, where the smaller area always ensures more action in a smaller amount of time. I guess you can consider Joust a sort of mini-conquest. Once again, you must take out your opponent's towers and their guardian, but the arena is much narrower, being 1 lane instead of 3, leaving little approach options, and from what I found, something that favored long-range fighters. I don't know, maybe I didn't use proper setups and such, but I just couldn't keep up with picking warrior classes that just couldn't approach enemies without taking too much damage. Now with mages and such, I fared a little better, so I recommend picking someone with some range if you want to have a slightly better time. Clash and Assault can be considered smaller versions of Conquest as well. With Clash, there's only 2 lanes instead of the usual 3, and in Assault, there's only 1 lane like in Joust, but there's also no buffs to attain from those minions I mentioned earlier, meaning it's nothing but you and whatever gains you get from money and kills. So if you find Conquest to be too grueling, Joust, Assault, and Clash might be better suited for you. Assault and Clash are locked into level 15, however, so it'll be a bit before you're able to experience them. All in all, out of all the modes I was able to experience, I ended up going back to Arena the most. It's the best one to just jump into. It doesn't ask for much of your time. You don't need that much coordination with your team if you want to achieve victory, and I think it was the preferred mode for testing out your character's abilities. You can also team up with others to go against AI opponents if you want to work on your teamwork, but you can't beat the human dynamic when it comes to multiplayer matches. The more you play, the more currency you get for additional skins and whatnot, and Smite offers a ton of daily quests that you can complete to earn additional rewards in bulk. It usually just involves playing a specific mode a certain amount of times or getting a victory here and there. Whatever keeps you coming back, you should know how these type of things work. I mean, if you got real life money to burn, you can also spend that to purchase gems in bulk to get those skins faster, but that's your decision at the end of the day. I quite enjoyed my time here, bearing that nearly hour-long game of Conquest that we somehow ended up winning anyway. Seriously, I don't know how that happened, given that we were losing horribly for a majority of the match. As someone who's never played a MOBA in his life, I thought Smite was easy to understand. It doesn't ask for much at all to jump into. This is something I can see myself playing with my Twitch subscribers should they happen to own the game and want to prove their superiority. They know who they are. It's out now on the Nintendo Switch. Again, you can purchase the Founders Pack using the link in the description below if you want to, and if not, it's also available on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Once again, I want to thank Hi-Res Studios for letting me try the game out. I know my friends that play Smite are now going to be swarming me with questions like, oh, dude, who's your favorite character? Did you try this out? What do you think about this? Should lead to some interesting conversations. But I also want to thank you all for watching. As always, I will see you with the next video. Have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care. That said, I only have a handful of videos up before I head into the next marathon. I'm guessing you can predict what 2 of those games were, but we'll find out soon enough. I'll talk to you more nostalgic than you already are. You can spend $3 to get the original soundtrack to accompany your next playthrough, and I'm happy to say, even with the higher quality graphics and audio, it still manages to fit in perfectly. Resident Evil 2 had one of my favorite soundtracks in the franchise, and I'm happy I'm able to bring it with me. Save rooms never felt so relaxing. Other DLC includes a handful of additional costumes. You got this sheriff outfit for Leon, noir-styled outfits for both characters, which I really dig on Claire. But she also gets some military garbs, and an Elsa Walker outfit, a shout out to the original protagonist planned during Resident Evil 2's development. If you purchase the deluxe edition of the game, all of these costumes are available from the start, but they're also available as DLC you can purchase from the store. By completing the game, you can also unlock the character's retro costumes, giving Claire her old school biker outfit, and Leon his original RPD uniform, which now more than ever looks like a cosplay. I also like how he still gets his bandages placed outside of his uniform after taking a bullet. I love that attention to detail. Completing the game with both characters also unlocks the 4th Survivor minigame, where you play as this dude named Hunk that needs to get to his extraction point utilizing limited ammo and health supplies, and they throw everything in the kitchen sink at this poor asshole. But consider yourself a master if you can clear this in a short amount of time. Not me though, I got as far as the 2nd floor of the police station before the lickers licked my ass. Other than that, I don't know what else to say. If I weren't in such a dire situation, I'd gladly spend more time on it. Maybe a revisit during the marathon later this year, because there's some more DLC on the way that includes additional story elements. But I can say this now, this is an awesome recreation of one of my favorite games in the survivor horror genre. Modern gamers have something to look forward to in an intense, horror-filled gore fest filled with plenty of reasons to keep it coming back, while longtime fans have a fantastic recreation of the game that put Resident Evil on the map. It's been a long time coming, but it's finally here, and I'm happy to say it doesn't disappoint. I guess I should thank Capcom for sending me a copy of the game before I met my demise. Again, if you're interested in learning more about the game, maybe you want to purchase it for yourself, you can find a link in the description below to get you started. It's available in Standard Edition, Deluxe Edition with all the DLC I mentioned included, and there's also a Collector's Edition for those die-hard Resident Evil fans that comes with a nifty statue of Leon, an art book, the soundtrack, a poster, as well as the Deluxe Edition of the game. And in case I don't make it out of here alive, can one of you guys tell Ted? Oh, shit! Guys, come on! Come on, don't you recognize me? Come on! Stop! Please stop! No! 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 Thank you, Mark.
Gue.
Turn my elbow.
Gue.
Fuck you. You're nice as shit. Get the hell out of here.
Gue.
Fuck. Keep my phone. He went nuts.
Oh no, he nutted.
Gue.
Because you're holding on to the railing. Hey. Save first. He has it here. Just want to die a second time. So terrifying. Stop! Please stop! No! That's so nice.